How are you? So excited to be here again today and glad that you have decided to join me in our Embracing Change series and talking today about warts and all. Sounds kind of interesting, huh? We'll get there in just a minute. Right now, we are going to, let me just do this. Of course, we're going to start with the National Day calendar. And it's early enough for some of us that today is National Pizza Day. So if you haven't made your supper yet, this is the time. Maybe you can just call it in and then you can have it delivered. It'll be cool. A little extra information. Pepperoni pizza is the most popular pizza, with 36% of the pizzas being sold are pepperoni. Or as Tristan would say, pepperoni. He used to say pepperoni, and about a week or two ago when I was talking to him, he said pepperoni. And I was like, he's growing up. I mean, I know at 7 you stop saying pepperoni, but I was it's hard to watch the kids grow up, isn't it? You're happy and poignant, and also 3 billion pizzas are sold annually at like pizzerias, and 1 billion are sold frozen. And that's not even counting how many is made. And they say the average person eats, 23 pounds of pizza a year. I don't know how to say this, but I think I exceed that. I like pizza. And yeah, I'll bet I could knock out more than 23 pounds a year. Pizza was, if you can wrap your mind around this, the first pizzeria opened in Italy in 1738. Can you imagine that? Pizza in 1738 in Italy. And in the United States, the first pizza was made in 1895. So, and it's everywhere. Pizzerias represent 17% of all restaurants anywhere. Now, well, in the United States. I'm pretty sure Mexicans probably coming in second, and it probably used to be Chinese, but I think Mexicans taken that over, because I love my Mexican food, and I love pizza, and I love me a little Chinese food too. I have so much to pick from. It is also Cut the Cord Day. I thought it was important to talk about this today, because Cut the Cord Day is saying cut the cable cord, so that you don't have to spend so much money. So many people have to spend so much money on cable. And that sounds really easy, really cheap, you know. You can get yourself a Roku or a Fire Stick and have your Wi-Fi and operate, stream your stuff through, stream it instead of using cable. Now, some of you don't know that you do have the ability to use your telephone as a hotspot if you don't have Wi-Fi. You get, depends on the service you get. So it depends on how much, sorry, excuse me. I need a little tea. So, so it depends on how much your internet is. Do you have a landline and, different kind of things like that. And I know everybody complains about the price of their cable. Well, if you're not careful, you can get your streaming right up there. So you want to look at the various plans available to you, and what are you looking for? Are your favorite channels included? And then the prices go up and up and up and up, and it's like, do I really want to do this? Should I go back to cable? But I cut the cord a long time ago, and I could probably even do better. I live alone, and a lot of times my TV is my source of company. So I will take care of myself and pay that little bit extra, but not a lot extra. You know, you get Paramount. If you want to get Paramount Plus, you got to pay more. You get Disney. If you want to get Disney Plus, you got to pay more. That's infuriating. But I'm right now happy with what I've got, and there's a number of companies you can go with. So check out the thought of cutting the cord, and just don't cut the cord and then make it into a spider web by connecting yourself to all kinds of other services that are costing you just as much. Just saying. Alrighty, well, today we are talking about warts and all. Now, what's coming up next week? Valentine's Day. You got less than a week to prepare, so you better get on the stick, you know? So, the thing is, we're talking about love. And with a divorce rate over 50%, I think we have to kind of ask ourselves, what do we really know about love? And of course, love is not just about couples. Love is about, there's familial love, there's brotherly love, there's agape love for all people. There's all kinds of forms of love. Love is mentioned in the Bible so much, it's, and what are we taught? Love God, and love each other, and love yourself. And one of the teachings says, love your neighbor as yourself. So, of course, when that came up, it was like somebody said, so who is my neighbor? Well, our neighbor is everybody. So that's what it means. Well, how can you have unconditional love for a neighbor, that is annoying you? See, love, we look at love, so sorry, got a frog. We look at love as an emotion. But love is not an emotion. Love is a principle. And love is real. Now, romance, infatuation, chemistry, lust, sex, that stuff is in the lower human nature, whereas unconditional love is principle. It is absolute, it is eternal, and would you believe me when I tell you it's unchanging? You can think back to a relationship you had a long time ago, and if it could have been a bad relationship, and you let go, if you can let go of the bad stuff and kind of look at the essence, what was the good stuff there, it's going to take a lot of the resentment and pain out of your heart, and you're really freeing yourself. That they say is forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. But we do tend to love people conditionally rather than unconditionally. Where two or more are gathered, someone's going to start a fight. It happens to everybody. And a lot of times some people are more, docile, and some people are more assertive. And my mom and dad were like that. My mom, very passionate and loud. Wonder where I got that. And vibrant, and she would get angry. And my mom was a Virgo, pick, 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 pick. And my dad was a Pisces. Whatever. One day my mom was having a particularly crabby day, and I just wanted to go somewhere. So I had my dad take me to the bank. And when we got to the bank, I had this stewing in me, and I said, Daddy, how can you just, sometimes let Mom go off on that sometimes? And he goes, she gets over it. And she does. But that's what made them a really good couple. They were able, Their love was unconditional. I'll tell you, if my father was going to set down his foot, he set down his foot. You didn't cross him. But normally, so easygoing, so loving, so Christ-like. I'll tell you, I always figured, if there's reincarnation, I don't think my dad's coming back. Well, if he comes back, it'll probably to help other people. But anyway, but that they gave me such a beautiful example of unconditional love, and it was the same thing with all people. No, were they perfect? No. Am I perfect? No. If we're perfect, we're going. We're ascending, or we're supposed to be here helping others. But I know I have my points where unconditional love is very frustrating, and I'm sure you do also. You say, well, I don't know, I think I'm pretty good about it, so I want to look at this. With unconditional love, first of all, we do not demand change. We cannot demand change, because only change happens inside, not outside. We can encourage change. We can teach methods of change, but whether someone changes or not, that's not ours to do. Sometimes what is ours to do is look at that challenge that we're having with another person and look at them as our greatest teacher. What is this issue that I'm going through with this person teaching me? And if we've got, if we hold a grudge, it could be against our mate, it could be against our parents, our kids, our neighbor, anybody. The longer we carry a grudge, which is conditional love, very conditional love, we're hurting ourselves. In Unity we teach that the thoughts we consistently hold in mind will manifest in our lives. So if we've got a thought that someone has offended us and we don't feel they deserve our forgiveness, or we don't give them our forgiveness, we are blocking. It's like building a wall. Every negative thought builds a wall between us and the people that we need to get along with. So maybe our lesson is to be more patient. Maybe our lesson is to take a look at somebody else's side of the story, Put on that other man's moccasins and see how they fit. They may pinch. They may fit real good. That's about understanding each other. We want to understand each other. So, number one, don't demand change. Number two, don't expect change. Unconditional love means I love you whether you change or whether you don't. That's unconditional love. Now, if there are things, everybody's got what you call deal breakers. In other words, I will not tolerate drug abuse. I will not tolerate drug use. So if we are married and you're practicing, you're using drugs, and that's an absolute, what do you call it, a deal breaker. Nope, I will not do that, and the person is unwilling to stop doing that. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to have a big fight. You have to say, okay, well, that's not working for me, so I love you, and I'm going to let you go. Because you should not be suffering because of, see, we keep thinking that if that's a deal breaker, that means you're wrong, you're bad, you're at fault. It means that it is an inharmonious relationship. And so unconditional love sometimes means I love you and I'm going to let you go. Unconditional love sometimes means I got lessons to learn about my own pride and my own, self-interest, my own, God forbid, narcissism. No, narcissism. Talk about our own self-centeredness. That's the word I wanted, self-centeredness. So if everything's about me, me, and the other person saying, I really am having a hard time with that. We should think about me sometimes, and what my needs are, and maybe that's the unconditional love, is to love enough to learn to be in harmony. And if you're not willing to, then you release with love. But that is principle. We always want to blame someone. We want to make the other person wrong. We want to make it that it's not my fault. Don't look at it as fault. Look at it as cause. It all comes down to cause and effect. This causes me pain. This causes me joy, to feel good. So you want to always go back up to the cause. One time, I was just thinking about someone, and I said, you make me want to do wonderful things for you. Why? Because they're gracious, appreciative of what I have to give, generous with me, and that's what you want. If you want to receive, if you like to receive, who doesn't like to receive? Okay, but you have to learn to be a gracious receiver. Some people don't think they deserve to receive. That's when you got to practice some unconditional love on yourself. Because if you think for some reason you don't deserve to receive good, that's conditional love of yourself. So love yourself unconditionally. You're a human being. You make mistakes. You're still wonderful, still a child of God. Unconditional love is for everyone. And one of the best examples of unconditional love, of course, is dogs. Now, I'm a cat person, not a dog person. Used to be a dog person, but now I'm a cat person. Do I like dogs? Absolutely. Would I want to see any harm? Absolutely not. But I still don't want to own one. I don't want to walk them. I don't want to clean up their poop. I'd rather clean a litter box. Be done with it. But dogs have absolute unconditional love. And I will say, my cat does too. Well, no, she's actually gotten mad and pouted at me a few times if I went away for a few days and then came back. It's like, who do you think you are? But dogs are an amazing example of unconditional love. You come home and they're like, you're home, you're home, you're home, you're home. Man, can you imagine if everybody in the house did that? There would be no divorce. There would be no broken families. Everybody'd be so happy to see each other. And that's something to think about, and that is unconditional love. So we say to ourselves, all right, so I was in love, infatuated, whatever, and this is the person I thought I married, and then they change. Yeah, how do you have to handle that? Did they change for the better? Did they not change for the better? Can adjustments be made? And even if they can't, unconditional love means I wish you well, I don't wish you any harm, I'm not angry, I'm not resentful. When I got my divorce, my first divorce, my attorney said to me, you have to not cry. If you are crying, that means that you may not really want the divorce. And so what you do is you explore it. And when I was told that, I did explore it. And what I discovered is I was crying for the lost dream. But for all the people who have uncomfortable, bad divorces and they hate each other and they fight over the kids, that's not doing anybody any good. You can let go of a former relationship, let go and bless them on their way. And when I say that, I mean absolutely. That is unconditional love. Even if they're going into the sunset with somebody else. If your marriage was so good, it wouldn't happen. That wouldn't have happened. Or you would have been able to work it out. Unconditional love can help us very much. And, look out for the deal breakers. I know, so can you take a few looks at conditional love? Can you think about either your current relationship, past relationship, your relationship with your parents, with your kids or whatever, and say to yourself, what conditions am I putting on this relationship? What conditions are you putting on the relationship? And are they deal breakers? Can you live with it? I always tell people when I'm a minister and I marry people, and before I marry anyone, I tell them this is going to be the hardest work you've ever done and the most rewarding. And the one question you have to answer is figure out the worst behavior of the person that you're going to tie your life to. The thing that makes you craziest. Will you be okay? Can you still be in this marriage if that never changes? Because chances are it won't. I don't know who it was, but some comedian once said, men marry women expecting they'll never change. And women marry men expecting to change them. So you can see right there where we might have a few problems. We can say, well, I love you, but I don't like that you smoke. Well, is that a deal breaker, or do you not like it? Can you live with it? Or you talk too much? Or you eat too much? Or too little? Or you're not good to my dog? What is a deal breaker? What is not? And this goes for your neighbors. It goes for your parents. And when I say deal breaker, we are all connected. There is no way we can, in spirit, be actually torn apart, separated. We can separate physically, mentally, but we are still a part of a greater whole. So we have to learn to be able to let go without anger or resentment, because that's about us. That's not about the other person. I would say, well, I love him, but he never picks up after himself. Well, can you live with that for the rest of your life? Because don't count on it changing. If at some point you might say to him or her, gee, it really kind of makes me crazy. I work hard keeping this place all picked up, and then when you come in and you're tossing yourself stuff around, all the work I did is gone. Even with kids, a lot of parents complain about how much time they have to spend picking up after their kids. Children can be taught to pick up after themselves. I even learned. I didn't learn until I was a grown-up, but when I was a kid, I had more stuff under my bed than you would believe. If it wasn't under my bed, it was shoved in my closet. And for a while, I had to share the room with my sister, and she was neat. So we got, Susie Homemaker here, and we've got Pigpen over here. I just had other things to do. Even when I was married, I said I'm a homemaker, not a housekeeper. But I do pretty good now. I've grown. I've blossomed more into who I really am. Don't think that you can take someone and be like My Fair Lady and transform them into something more refined or whatever. They may be inspired by you to do so, but you cannot influence them. Make sure I don't miss any of my notes. Yep, it looks like I hit on all those points, and that's good, because I still, oh gosh, that time goes by so fast. Something else I want to touch on today. And it's a different version of Mad Mad World, because I like to think Mad Mad Worlds are funny, things are funny, but they're not always. I just finished listening to the book Black Like Me. Now, I read the book decades ago, and it totally changed my life. If you're not familiar with it, it's a man who is a writer, and he did a 6-week project. His friend, and I was talking to you about this the other day about the movie Soul Man, where the kid kind of did the same thing, took medicine so he would look like he was black. Well, this guy really did it. He did it for 6 weeks. He went into the Deep South, and he was trying to really experience what it was like to be black. And at the end of the book, he was talking about the things, the aftermath. This was even a few years later. It was the aftermath. And, well, no, because he reported it then, but it was happening when he finished the book. But people were, they hung him in effigy in Texas. That's where he lived. And they were going to kidnap him and castrate him. And that was, they were threatening his wife, his children. He had to sell his house. He had to move without letting people know where he was moving to. He paid a lot. The ultimate conditional love, is racism. It's hating someone for their religion, for their race, for their thought processes, who they want to be with. You don't have to agree with it to hate it. You can love unconditionally without hating. So I read that because I told you that it's coming up in what I'm writing right now, and I always like to make sure I stay fresh with this. Well, many years ago, when I was in seminary, I was with a girl named Maureen Bass, and she actually came from, I think it was Alabama. And her husband, her ex-husband, was Morris Dees. Now, the name Morris Dees might not mean anything to you, but he started the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center. They actually made a movie about his life, so you might want to check that out. But I had, before I knew Maureen, I had supported it because I think everybody needs a fair shake at life. Well, today, because I'm talking about this today, I got something in the mail, and it was from the Southern Poverty Law Center. And it is a map. I hope you can see this because there's 3 different kinds of markings on this map. Well, there's a bunch. There's Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazi, white nationalist, racist skinhead, Christian identity, neo-Confederate, neo-Volkich, I don't know what that is, anti-immigrant, anti-LGBTQ, anti-Muslim, and general hate. In our country, there are a total of 838 hate groups. And there's the map. It goes to show where they are. Hate groups and racism are worldwide. We are taught to love one another. Every major religion has the golden rule as a part of its teaching. And the golden rule is to do it unto others as you would have them done unto you. And hate is not there. Martin Luther King said that hate will never drive out hate. Only love will drive out hate. It's a mad, mad world when you don't like someone just because they have a different color skin. It's a mad, mad world when you judge people by appearances. It's a mad, mad world when, without deeply knowing what someone's life was like, you condemn them. Oh, that's what prejudge, prejudice. So, Valentine's Day is coming up. You're going to want to love someone. So I invite and encourage you to do the right thing and to love one another and have a great day. Love unconditionally.